Hey, hi, welcome back. This is Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour, and you're listening to the show called Full and Complete Communication and How to Have Some, and if you don't, what it's going to cost you. It's pretty cool, especially, communication is all about one person talking to another. Now, any of you ever have to do that? How about every second of every waking moment? Now, Susan, you said you have some emails you want to read.
I do it. This is from Jenny.
By the way, I communicate with Susan, sort of.
Sometimes, maybe.
You're a role model to us all.
I am a role model. Our marriage is absolutely what you need to follow. We are in deep trouble.
Okay, well,
okay, go ahead.
Anyway, this email's from Jenny. It says, isn't there some line we shouldn't cross when communicating fully and completely? I'm thinking about a movie that was out some years ago where this person always spoke what was on their mind, and frankly, it got them in a heap of trouble.
Yeah, that's...
Or what about TMI, which is too much information?
Too much information, yeah. No, that's a very good point. And probably after the next break in segment 3 of the show, I'm going to talk about how you set up the listening where you can talk about difficult things or talk about things that may be somewhat confronting or embarrassing to the listener, or even embarrassing for you to say. So it's called, asking permission to shoot straight. And that's really what the answer to that is you can give too much information. You can embarrass someone. You can do all kinds of things. So there's also the environment in which you speak. If you're going to talk about something that could be sensitive to that person, you certainly don't want to do it in front of somebody else. Mm. And by the way, another thing that for all you employers out there or supervisors out there that manage people, the one thing you never, ever want to do is you never want to chastise or call someone on the carpet or, shall we say, hold one accountable in a very aggressive way in front of somebody else. You don't ever want to embarrass anybody, hold them accountable for what they said they were going to do and didn't do, okay?
Yeah. And, one of the things I got out of this email, too, is possibly that she's talking about somebody that just talks.
Yeah.
And just, doesn't really pay attention to what they're saying and doesn't really care about what the listener's hearing. They just need to talk.
Okay, that's a very good point. So let's just say somebody is just G-jawing away and doesn't really care where they're leaving people, not being responsible for the power of what they speak or anything else. What could you do? What do you think you could do, Susan? Think about that. You could just tell them straight out, couldn't you?
Stop talking.
Yeah, you could just say, hey, you know what? You're offensive. You're hurting my feelings, and this is a bad time for doing that, so I request you stop. And usually people will. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to make them right. You don't have to beat them up. You don't have to spank them, or you don't have to stick them with a hat pin. You don't have to do any of that. You just go, excuse me. Yeah, I know nobody has hat pins anymore, but anyway, it shows you how old I am. Now, full and complete communication. And I'm talking about communication around everything from a job that is being done to what is going on in your heart of hearts, how you feel. So communicating what is supposed to be done by when and by whom. Communicating general information or data to your team. Communicating expectations for behavior in your children. Whoa. And probably about half the planet can understand what's going on there. How about in Southern California right now, communicating, I'm sorry, but you got to leave your house because your backyard's on fire. I mean,
that's a tough one.
It's really, and I want everybody to think about that. There's a lot of folks down there that are in a lot of trouble. They need a lot of help and a lot of prayer. So my prayers and my, wanting to help is going out to you. Now, and by the way, out of that experience, I'm real clear, I don't have any problems. Those people got some problems. So communicating that you need a hug, that's a good one. Communicating that you're not getting what you need from your relationships, Communicating that you're lonely. Oh, I'm so lonely. What do I do? Okay, I'm better now. All right, communicating that you have you have more to do than you could ever get done in the day. Communicating that you need help. I mean, what a concept. Whoa, all right? Now, the lack of full and complete communication creates a space where, now, everybody listen to what I'm going to say now. These are some of the costs about not being responsible for being fully communicated. That those around you and even yourself are left in their own thoughts, making up stuff, usually negative or troubled stuff, that often is worse than the reality. Of course, now, Jared, you've never made up stuff that's worse than the reality, have you?
Of course not.
I didn't think so. That's why
I'm in no way an actor
that's
at
why
all.
I totally looked at you and I went, I could say this to Jared because he understands that he never does that. And
Exactly,
all those guys have the problem.
They do.
Totally.
I see it.
Yes.
I see it. But I won't make them wrong for it.
Yeah, that's right. Now, another cause of the lack of full and complete communication is quality time for you and for others is lost. Now, how many of you have extra time in your life? Think about that now. Those of you that listen to the show today, how many of you can remember when you had absolutely nothing to do and, quite frankly, were just wallowing in it? I got to tell you, I can't even remember the last time I had nothing to do. I can't, I mean, my waking moments are go, 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 go.
Susan, is there such a thing as extra time?
What? That's foreign.
And another cost of the lack of full and complete communication is there's all sorts of room for upsets, misunderstandings, and very strained relationships. I mean, just getting along today at today's pace with all the instantaneous communication and input data from all over the world, all right? Plus everything that's going on in Santa Barbara, everything that's going on in San Diego, everything that's going on in North County. I mean, my gosh. Plus, we've got the Santa Barbara City Council elections coming up. We've got all kinds of stuff going on that requires us to participate not only in the world, but in our worlds, all right? Now, another thing that you could lose out on if you don't communicate fully is your finances. Got it? Now, here's the big one. Is you could lose face with others. Now, what's it mean to lose face? You could be embarrassed based on how you communicate, either how you really got what was said to you and what you did with it, or what you said to somebody else and what they did with it. Now, think about this now. Who's responsible in communication for what the listener gets? I'm going to ask that question again. Who's responsible now? I'm looking right at you, Jared. Who's responsible now? All right? For what the listener gets when you're communicating. And I'll give you a little hint. There's only one other person in the group besides the listener, and that's the speaker. And the speaker is responsible in all cases, at all times, without exception, for what the listener or listeners get.
I start by saying, huh? And then I share a great quote by, I see the name John F. Smith, and the only reason I actually know who this is, because I'm sure there's a lot of John Smiths out there, is I believe he's a soap opera producer. Mm-hmm. That's who I think this John Smith is. And he has a great thing. He says, we listened to what our customers wanted and acted on what they said. Good things happen when you pay attention. Yeah, it's kind of just an example of what you were saying.
That's exactly.
Now there's another one here.
Susan's good. Susan's good.
Oliver
you two be nice to each other. Communicate fully. Go ahead.
This is from Oliver Wendell Holmes.
Yeah.
Speak clearly if you speak at all. Carve every word before you let it fall.
Wow.
And it rhymes.
How many times? How many times have you spoken what you thought was clear? All right. And what you got back from the listeners was clearly it wasn't. Think about that.
More than once.
That was good. We should make that a Clay quote.
Isn't that? We'll just change Oliver Wendell Holmes
just change that, yeah. Okay, so now all I'm saying is sometimes we're just rolling so fast that our lips aren't connected to our brain. And many times what we say and connect to our heart speak. And we do damage. We do all kinds of things. We spin people around. We talk over their heads. We talk down to them. Where we leave them is not where we wanted to leave them. It's kind of like how emails do, like I said earlier. Except human beings do it, quicker, better, faster, more often than anybody can type. So you got to think about that. So if we stand, really loose, and we just, we don't worry about not being fully communicated, all right, what do you think could happen? I mean, life gets to be a big mishmash. Things start happening, and you're going, where did that come from? Okay, now, here's something that just came up. I have to go on another break now. And you're listening to Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour. Today's show is the value of full and complete communication.
Man, you're so flexible and so good at communicating it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and you're listening to, let me see, KZSB AM 1290, the Santa Barbara News Press radio station. Thank you, Santa Barbara News Press. You guys are outrageous. So get on back here because we're going to talk about communicating, especially that which I didn't on the last segment.